Hello. So before I begin, I have a really funny story to tell you. Most of you probably saw me playing with the fog machine at the Sugar Room last night. Yeah, anyone? Okay, so I took it back to my hotel room last night, and I was trying to get it hooked up to Node, and I didn't bring any of my tools. I didn't bring my multimeter, other stuff like that. So I was like, let's hope for the best. Wire it up, plug it into my Arduino, and was doing that on the bed of my hotel room. I nearly caught the bed on fire. Destroyed my Arduino, destroyed the fog machine, killed my laptop power adapter, shut down all of the power outlets in my hotel room. And so that's why we've been scrambling to get things kind of working again, because I'm not sure if my laptop's going to make it through the rest of this demonstration. And my USB ports have been acting really funny since the incident, as it were. So at the very least, we have a fog machine, and I've got Gangnam Style on MP3. So worst comes to worst, we'll just have like a little disco for a little bit. So yeah, let me start the presentation. So originally, before I knew that everything was going to screw up, I was going to come up here and be like, I'm working on applications and methodologies for Node.js and better development. My name is Emily Rose, NexiLove on Twitter. Just kidding. Let's make a JavaScript-powered disco. And here's what we're going to use. Node Fermata, Johnny 5, Shoe. By the way, the semicolons at the end are not really there for anything. It's just kind of a style thing. Yeah, so, I think Vidya mentioned Node Fermata a little bit by Jay Gautier. Amazing library. It makes things really easy to just plug in and start playing with. The one thing, the little caveat to that, and why Max is up here screwing around with things, is the main functionality that we're using for my demo is functionality that's not included in the main branch yet, so it's kind of hard to get working. But Johnny 5, I'm going to give you some demos of Johnny 5, if possible, and we'll kind of go over how to get things set up. So we're basically just using Node Fermata, Johnny 5, Shoe, which is a WebSocket library by Substack. And we'll kind of go over the hardware a little bit. So, anyone want to help with this? Show of hands? Okay. Yeah, so I know Dishaw's ready for this. So if you could come up, that would be fantastic. Bring your laptop. And if anyone else wants to, I'm going to let you keep the Arduinos, by the way. So, Okay, yeah, come on up. Maybe. Yes. All right. I don't know, but let's do it again.
That's awesome.
So.
Oh yeah, did you get the lights messed up?
Well, we can try it. Almost, a little bit of a strobe. And by the way, the strobe light that we've added here, I found at the €2 store at the corner of the Central Hotel, and it was like one of those little closet lights, and we pulled it apart at the library bar, hooked it up to the Arduino, and kind of got it strobing, but that was before all of my USB ports started screwing up, so let's see if I can unplug it and plug it back in again. We got one strobe. That's kind of good. There we go, yes.
No. It's supposed to be based on it.
Well, not really, but let's see. And sorry for all the dead air, but as you saw with Vidya's demo, the demo gods, as it were, are very cruel. So nothing ever works properly when it comes to hardware demos. So keep that in mind if any of you ever want to do a hardware demo. Just don't. It's not a good idea. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Is it possible to switch?
Yeah.
Can we do an on-the-fly projector switch? Is that possible? Can we do an on-the-fly projector switch? Is that possible? Cool. I just needed to plug into there. Yeah, just try to get the lights working.
Okay.
Cool. All right, so I was tasked with building a drum set. I play drums, and so I didn't have a drum set here in Ireland. They wouldn't let me check it in the bag, unfortunately. So I built one in JavaScript. And I got this Arduino from Nexi, actually, and it's hard to see through all of the fog. However, it's basically just a normal Arduino. And I wrote this little program that uses Socket.io because it's hard to make sounds on the command line, basically, but I know how to make sound in the browser. And if you guys have seen any of the web audio stuff, I was just on here. There's some really amazing stuff that you can do in browsers now around synthesis. And one that I wanted to show was, where's the multiplayer piano? Here we go. I think this is just absolutely beautiful. So this is like a Socket.io app that somebody wrote that does the synthesis in your browser. And you log on, and then you get this piano. And if anybody else goes to multiplayerpiano.com on their Chrome or web audio enabled browser, there we go. That's kind of ridiculous, right? So this uses Socket.io and basically just sends the messages, and then everybody's browser is doing the independent synthesis. And now there's web audio. Web Audio API lets you have audio buffers. They have this whole crazy abstraction around sound. And usually you'd have to have like a tag in HTML that has sound loaded into it. And if you play that tag, you can only play it once at a time. And then if you try to play, like say you hit a drum pad twice in a second, but the drum sound takes a second to play, only one of those sounds is going to play because the second one's going to come in and it's going to be like, oh, I'm already playing that audio tag. So it doesn't support multiple playback at a single time. But the way that the Web Audio API works is it loads the sounds into a buffer, and you could play them as many times as you want, up to like 32 channels at once or something. So I think we have overloaded multiplayerpiano.com here. However, I was working on a simpler version just to show how to use it, how to use Node to write it. And let me hide the drawer. There we go. So basically, all this is a little Socket.io server, or you could use any of the other streaming browser transport stuff. And it uses Johnny 5 to talk to my Arduino, because hitting a key with your mouse is really hard. So I wanted to use a physical button. And I was working on building an actual physical drum set, but didn't have the means to make it here in Ireland. So you basically just set up a little server. And anytime a button hits, you emit that button to all the connected sockets. And Socket.io does all the magic. And then the only actual stuff you have to do for Arduino is you use the Johnny 5 API. You make a new Johnny 5 object, and you tell it to listen on a certain pin. And in this case, it's the analog pin, the first analog pin. So Johnny 5 abstracts away all the crazy magic you have to do and just lets you plug a cable into the first hole in the Arduino. And then you get a JavaScript event every time it gets pressed. So it makes it really easy. And I also was playing with the piezoelectric pad, which is this little tiny, uh-oh, I have a rat's nest in here. The piezoelectric thing is this little tiny circle. It looks like the thing that a doctor uses to measure your heartbeat. And it detects vibration. So if you mount this to something you can hit with a stick, then you have a drum set. But I couldn't get it working. So I just have a little button. And every time the button presses, I just emit that there was a button press, and that gets sent to the browser. So now in my browser, the client-side code is that's awesome. So the client-side code, if you could see it, is pretty straightforward. It's only a few lines. It loads the sounds from the server, like in this case it's WAV files, and then there's this awesome library from Tiffany at SoundCloud that is just like a wrapper around loading sounds from a server and loading them in. And then you just make them into audio buffers that you can call play on multiple times. So every time that the button event gets sent from Node to Socket.io, I tell the browser to render that sound. And so this button here, I can use to trigger different sounds. And here, so check it out. I can do like multiple meows at a time. It does meow layering. But if I go in and change,
This was the best 50-euro investment I've ever made, by the way.
if I go in here and change it from meow to something like snare, which is more like a drum set, then now I get so I have a little drum pad. So the idea is to build out more of these little things and hook up more sensors. And the Arduino is basically just sending the events into Node. Node is sending them over WebSockets, and then using the Web Audio API to do synthesis. And this is an awesome way to make the Web Audio API more interactive, I think. So you guys should screw around with it, because it's really fun. But do we have the light strobe party?
Actually, Max, are you able to pull up the rest of my slides?
Yeah.
So obviously, this has turned into quite a collaborative effort. And I also want to thank Cliff. Where are you, Cliff? So Cliff helped me source this awesome contraption. Because like I said, I broke mine after shocking the hell out of myself. And this is probably the coolest talk I'm ever going to do, regardless of how horrible everything else has gone. So if you can ever see the screen again, I'm going to go over just a little bit of like the basic hardware. Thank you. Yes, there we go. All right. So I wanted to show you at least how easy it is to get, like, maybe I'm not going to show you anything. Maybe we should all just come up here and dance. I don't know. Hold on. So
Plug my laser in.
yes, we'd at least have lasers. Lasers always make everything better. So yeah, by the way, my laptop has officially died. I'm going to have to buy a new laptop or something. I tried to plug it back in the bar, and there was like an audible pop and a click, and it fizzled in my hand, and my laptop is no more. But let's see. Okay, so we're clearing off a little bit. So let me describe some of the hardware. Can you go back one frame? Yeah. Or a couple frames? To like the very beginning of like, let's get started. Okay, so yeah, getting started. So how many of you are familiar with breadboards? Show of hands. Awesome. Interesting to note, they're not actually made out of bread. So keep that in mind. But one thing to explain for some people that aren't that familiar with them is that, as you see, maybe, the board, there's groupings of 5 pins that are all bridged together, and you can plug anything you want into those groups of 5, and they'll all be bridged together. So you have a whole bunch of those, and then you have your power rails on the side, and that's for your positive and your ground, and that's all linked together. And like I said, not actually made out of bread. Jesus. So next slide, please.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay, and you can't see any of it, but this is describing the Arduino itself, and I know Vidya kind of went into that a little bit, but the Arduino is an 8-bit AVR processor. It runs at a blazing 16 megahertz. It's got, I forget how much, like 32 kilobytes of memory. I would tell you, but I can't read the screen myself. Yeah, so in addition to the Arduino, like, I don't know, maybe I can just pass them around, but we're using an ultrasonic sensor, and those are ultrasonic sensors that work with sound. They work with about 40 kilohertz audio, and they just send kind of a ping, and then they measure how long it takes to get the response back, and then you do a little simple calculation based on the speed of sound to get how far away the nearest object is. So what I was going to show you was how we can use that to do various interesting things. So, for example, my JSConf demo, some of you may have seen that, we barely hooked it up, and thanks to Max, again, he's been an awesome team player, we were able to get like a little alarm system working in the browser through Node and Arduino. And for those of you that are interested, I can show you later tonight, maybe, if I find another computer. And so let's see here.
Let's hook it up.
Yeah, let's try to hook some stuff up. And maybe for those of you that are like actually really interested in this stuff, you could just come up here, and the rest of you can just do whatever you want. I don't know, because this is ridiculous. But I mean a good kind of ridiculous, really, right? Okay, so where are you at?
I installed npm install.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, okay, have you tried running Node at all with this in the Node directory? What time are we at, by the way? Oh, 8 minutes. All right, sweet. So.
Oh, yeah. Are we done with the fog section?
I think the button just got stuck down. Well, no, I wasn't able to get it working because my laptop just died completely. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Neat.
So what are we supposed to run?
So the idea of the demo was to actually get you guys working on what I had working on my laptop before I blew it up. And at this point, I'm not sure what the possibilities of us getting that to actually work are. So you could try typing node space lights and see what you get. So I think I might use this opportunity to take any questions. I would ask for a show of hands, but I can't see any of you. So if anyone has a question, just shout out. I know we're not supposed to do that, but I've got 7 minutes and no more demo, so. Well, oh yeah, let's hook up a manual one, sure. So we'll do some live hacking for the rest of our time.
So Nexi found this thing for €1 at the Euro shop, and it was like an LED light, but it didn't have a strobe version. So she decided to break it apart and hook it up to an Arduino so that we could turn it into a rave light. So as you can see, we didn't quite get to a real disco, but we do have a fog-filled room full of Europeans, and that's like half of a disco stereotype. And so if we could get the rave light working, then I think we're like 75% of the way there.
So at this point, I think I probably fried pretty much every piece of electronics that I own. Yeah, our strobe isn't working either, but maybe we can grab another one and at least do a redux at the after party. So, I mean, unless anyone has any questions, I'm gonna opt to conclude our little disaster of a presentation. I mean, the ambience is nice, though. We have to be honest about that. Oh, yeah, so, I mean, so I guess I can give you a little bit of history of how I actually got into this in the first place. I've been working for a place called Casa Diablo in Portland, Oregon, and it's a strip club. And what we've been trying to do is kind of modernize that industry. And so one of the things that we were doing is putting little sensors and basically little mini kiosks in the private dance area so that we can keep track of, you know, who's back there, whether they've paid for their time, that sort of thing. I've also implemented a security system at the club using similar sensors, and that's integrated with Twilio. And as an example, for my NodeConf 2012 demonstration, I gathered a bunch of our just cell phone numbers from random attendees, and I hooked it up through Twilio to kind of, you know, wave my hands in front of the sensor and make everyone's phones ring. So, I mean, as great of a story as that is, I wish that I could actually do that for you, but I'm not even sure if Twilio works in Ireland. It does. Okay, I know it didn't work in Germany, and that was an issue for me at JSConf, but so yeah, maybe next year. If they'll have me back after this, I don't know. But maybe next year we can do something a little more interesting that actually works. So I don't get to use the fog machine anymore? No? Oh. Yeah, well, honestly, I'm surprised we haven't yet, so. Any other questions? Anyone out there? Yes, you. You know, honestly, I think my experience here at Dublin has probably been the strangest experience that I've had with Arduino. I honestly did not expect to literally destroy my laptop. I didn't expect to shut off the power in my hotel room. So yeah, I have to say, trying to hook up a fog machine to my Arduino without any of my multimeters, and honestly, I probably knew better, but I didn't have my tools, and I really wanted to do something cool, and I guess I tried a little too hard, so. Yeah, I think there's a question back there. I can hardly see you. Oh, no, you're raising your hand to take a picture. Okay, sweet. Any other questions? No? No questions at all? All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate your generosity. And thank you guys for being willing to just basically sit here and do nothing. Because, you know, again, the goal is for everyone to be able to hook this up and play with it. But I've got another Arduino that we can figure out like an interesting way to give out to someone. So maybe like if you guys want to tweet me, like I'll just pick a random person that tweets me about that. And I've got another Arduino and jumper kit. I've got some LEDs. I've got some tact switches. And maybe we can run to the Euro store and get some more, you know, like stuff to play with later on tonight. So if anyone's interested in that, hit me up on Twitter and we'll see what we can do.